Hello guys, welcome to another Rossberry Productions video. Within this video I'm going to show you how to replace the front brake pads on a 2007 Mitsubishi 380. Now I believe it's the same pads on other years with the same model. I've also made videos on how to replace the front brake rotors as well as the rear brake pads, so feel free to check those out. Let's get started. Okay guys, so something I haven't done before, so please give me a comment or a bit of feedback whether you think this is a good idea. I thought I'd lay out the tools so you can see what we need for this little project that we're doing. So first off, you've got your jack to lift the car, your wheel brace to obviously take the wheel nuts off to remove the wheel, a 12mm spanner for the caliper. You'll also need to have an adjustable or an 18mm spanner to hold the back nut of that. Some cleaning brushes to clean the caliper with some brake cleaner, our G-clamp to retract the piston, some anti-seize copper grease to put on the back of the pads to stop them squeaking, obviously our new pads, and a nice cold drink to keep you going. Okay, so making sure we've got the handbrake on nice and tight, we're in park or we're in gear. I've actually got the rear wheels chocked here because we're on a slight incline. First thing we're going to do, with the car still on the ground, we're just going to loosen off each of the wheel nuts, which will allow us to get that wheel off a bit easier when it's in the air. Just about quarter or half a turn's fine at this stage. Okay, now we can start to jack the car. The jacking point is just in front of this join line here. Make sure it's on by hand first. And we're going to jack it up enough just so the wheel comes off the ground to obviously allow us to get that wheel off. And now continue to remove the rest of the nuts. Once you take the wheel off, just roll it under the car. Now just give you a little bit more protection. Okay, now take your 12mm spanner and we're going to undo this top bolt just at the top of the caliper. That was nice and easy. If you can't hold this back nut here, this is where you're going to have to use your adjustable spanner. It seems to be coming out nice and easy on this one. There you go. Now, as we're only doing a pad replacement, all you're going to do is rotate the caliper forward. Now that will allow you to take your pads right out. So there's one to the front and one to the back. Now using some brushes, a rag and our brake cleaner, we're going to clean all the way around the pistons, keeping the rubbers nice and clean, and all inside our caliper to get rid of as much of this dust as possible. No, I'd have put a mat down here because it will get messy. Make sure you've got the correct brake cleaner. Now this doesn't matter too much if it gets on the rotor, so don't be too worried about that. Obviously we don't want to soak them in it, but it does evaporate pretty quick. So before we can push the caliper pistons back, what we need to do is we need to open up the reservoir cap. So come over to the driver's side of the vehicle, just down here, and pull the bonnet lever just below the steering wheel. Come round to the front of the car. There's a lever just above the badge. Push that to the left, open up our engine bay. Now this white thing over the back here, that's our brake fluid reservoir. There's a little clip to the front and a clip to the back. Just release that. And what that'll do is that'll allow our fluid to actually rise up within the reservoir when we push the pistons back. Now, obviously remember to put that back on at the end. Now with the reservoir cap off, we can actually push both of these pistons back. To do that, we're going to use one of our old brake pads, not one of the new ones. Just slide that in there. Get yourself a nice big G-clamp. This is a 9-inch G-clamp. It seems to work perfectly with brakes. Get that on there and start to tighten it up, making sure the back of it is directly on the metal. You don't want to snag any of the hoses or pipes. Start to push that back. Okay, cycle between the two, so between the top and the bottom. Again, making sure you're not going to snag the hose. So the next thing we're going to do is get our anti-seize copper grease. Just get a real small bit. Rub that all the way around the rubbers and just around the face of the piston. Don't overdo it, keep it nice and thin. Just take the time and compare your new to old brake pads. I'm happy these are right ones. One of the things you'll notice is one of the brake pads actually has this little metal clip here. Now that actually goes on the back, so it goes on the inside of the car, with the one without the clip on the outside. Now what we're now going to do is smear another thin sliver of copper grease just on the back of the pads. As I said earlier, not too much, just a small amount. All the way over like that. So this is the one that goes on the inside because it has the metal clip. Just rotate it all the way on, all the way to the brake disc. Again, just a very small sliver. We're actually going to wipe some of this off once it's on. Get all the way over. And then this is the one that goes on the outside. When you're comfortable both of your pads are on and correct, you can now start to rotate the caliper over. Line up the bolt hole, get your bolt from earlier. Just do that finger tight at this point. Another 12mm spanner. If you can't hold it with your hand, get an 18mm spanner or adjustable. Now you'll see just some copper grease remaining here and here. Just clean that off with a rag. It's not needed in those spaces. And there you go, your caliper's back together with your new brake pads in there. Pump your brakes a few times with the car off just to resettle the pads, recenter them. I'm going to take the time now to bleed the brakes. There's plenty of videos to show you how to do that, so I won't show you right now. Okay, so now to put the wheel back on and lower the car down.
Trying to step back and see the view from above, 'cause I know that nothing lasts forever. And I try to crack this iceberg open till it shatters through the ocean. I wanna make shockwaves.
Now that the car's on the ground, just go around each of the wheel nuts one more time. just to make sure they're nice and tight. One last thing, check the level in your reservoir. Once you're happy with it, just remember to put that cap straight back on. Just check the clip to the front and back, and that's us done. And there we go, that's my video on how to replace the front brake pads on a 2007 Mitsubishi 380. As I said earlier, I have made videos on how to replace the front disc rotors as well as the rear brake pad, so feel free to check those out as well. If you found this video helpful, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.